All right. Welcome to a brand new episode of Seward Soundwords here on 91.7 KIBH FM Seward and on our YouTube channel at Sacktown. So happy to have my friend Shauna Potocky, local Seward poet, here in the studio again. Last year, she had a show before we were on YouTube, which was really fun. Always love hearing your work. She brought a lot of new work today, which has some visual component, which will be really fun to see and hear. I'm excited. It's been a while since we've been back at the studio, looking to get more back on track. Great way to do it here with Shauna, with the sun coming out today on a real Seward day. That's kind of flipped around a little bit. Great day for poetry. So I'm going to pass to Shauna a sec. If you don't know her, here is just a little bit of background. Well, I will say Shauna is a huge part of our Seward Writers Collective, bringing a ton of energy and just good vibes and effort. Does a lot of work. I know she loves doing it, but there's a lot that goes into it. Shauna's helped put on a lot of readings this poetry month in April. She always goes big. So she did at least the second. I think she's done a few of these reading at the library, which was a huge success. We had youth readers. We had a bunch of readers, good crowd. There were root beer floats. And also for April Poetry Month, great project I think is going to be a regular thing was the poems on coffee cups around town, which was really fun. I tried to collect them all. Didn't quite get there, but great stuff. And yeah, here is a little. So Shauna is the author, the writer behind her debut collection of poems, Yosemite Dawning, Poems of the Sierra Nevada. So here's a little bit her bio there. Shauna Potocky has a deep love of jagged peaks, rough-edged ridgelines, ice, and natural ecosystems, where the wonder of the world unfolds, teaches, and continuously holds mystery and awe. Shauna spent her childhood in the San Fernando Valley of Los Angeles, California, living in an urban landscape framed by dry creek beds and scrub-filled hills. It also occurs to me right now as I read that Shauna is an artist. She paints. Does the visual thing too. So Shauna is a poet and painter who lives in Seward, Alaska, located within the traditional homelands of the Supiaq people. Shauna Potocky, ladies and gentlemen.
Thanks, Sean.
Thank you.
Yeah, and shout out to you for all of the work that you do for the writing groups. And also, you were the coach and the teacher for the youth who came and did the reading for National Poetry Month.
Yeah, which was a lot of fun. Yeah.
And you were back there scooping ice cream.
Root beer.
Root beer floats with me.
Yeah.
Thank you, Stony Creek, for the root beer.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right. Well, should we jump in?
Go for it. Yeah.
Right.
I'm ready to be entertained.
Well, first, I don't know how entertaining I'll be, but first, I just want to say thank you to you for having me back. Last time I was here, I had a whole stack of papers just like this.
Right.
It was Yosemite Dawning. So here's the forthcoming book now, but Yosemite Dawning is now a book. And so it's still in draft when you saw it last time. So
that's right.
You.
Yeah.
And thanks to Wolf for helping to facilitate having us do the radio show and YouTube again. And I want to give a shout out to Cirque Press and the amazing people at Cirque, Sandy Clevin and Mike Burwell, and the designer for Yosemite Dawning, which was Signe Nichols. Really amazing to work with, and I'm so grateful.
Same.
They're pretty amazing. They've been on your show, right? Well, Sandy has.
Yep.
And then today I want to introduce a collaborative project that I did with Cassandra Moroche. She lives in the interior of Alaska, and her studio is called Waiakin Studio. And we collaborated on poetry broadsides. Right. And I love broadsides. I've collected them for a number of years, but this is the first time that I've put together broadsides myself. And Cassandra and I were introduced by a mutual friend, Michelle McAfee. We all have a McCarthy connection, and so that's how that all came together.
Cool.
But Cassandra is an extraordinary artist, and she does bird sculptures. And so we photographed her bird art and then put it together with poems, so you might be able to see it on camera there.
Yeah. Hold a little closer. Is that cool?
Yeah. And so I have a whole series of broadsides that I'm going to share with you today. And they will be released to the community next weekend with the holiday fair. So that'll be the first time that I make them available.
Nice.
For people who are interested. But we were also included in the Alaska Audubon Art and Conservation Night event that will happen at the Anchorage Museum on December 13th. And so that's really exciting. That's about a week or so away.
Awesome.
So we're going to be there too. So just wanted to give that shout out. Michelle McAfee does design work. Her business is called Spark and Muse. And so she helped us lay all of this work out. So really, really excited for that. So I want to give them a shout out because it wouldn't happen without all of them and amazing collaborations. And with that, maybe I'll read you some.
Please, yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to start with this piece called Backlit Turn. And I really wanted to start with this and kind of dedicate the whole reading to the Arctic terns, particularly because Seward is so fortunate that we have an Arctic tern nesting colony right here in town.
Yeah.
And it's pretty special. Not everybody has that. It's the bird with the longest migration
Right.
of any animal on Earth. It does extraordinary things to get here, to stay here, and then to nest here and fledge their young here. So I wanted to really acknowledge that and how special that is for us and that we should take care of that colony.
Yeah.
And Libby Ferreira, who's an artist and poet,
Yeah.
right? She's been on your show.
Yeah, for sure, Libby, yeah.
So I wanted to wear some earrings that she made of Arctic terns.
Those are awesome.
For today, since you can see them on camera instead of just hearing them.
Stray Goose Studio, Libby Ferreira.
Yeah. High five to
Hell
that.
yeah.
All right. So here's the first poem, Backlit Turn. Backlit, your sharp white wings against the wind, against the sea spray rising. Your tight turn stops, angles, sharp bent neck, tipped forward to see. The water surface hides nothing from you, scouting, hovering above tiny fish. Plucked up, your high chirps, tight turn, squeal, proud and full of giving, while on wing you deliver it to an eager partner, set to nest, lay. Tiny eggs in some hidden place, forge new life into the wild world. Fledge, join legions of sharp-winged fork-tailed terns, and fly. The longest migrations, this astounding world, across this astounding world, and return. Year after year, perhaps, to this place, clipping fish from the sea or the river, and repeat.
Nice. Yeah, thanks for that one. I mean, tern, special bird to me. You know, I like birds. I think a lot of people know. And this is one that you can really, they're easy to observe, right? When they're here. You know, I love how you got the sound in there. That's such a part of them. I mean, they hover right over you. Tight turn, nice play there. Clipping, how they fish, like watching them fish, like they hang around, like you're around some terns or this colony. You can really observe it and see how like a species stays, you know. And I mean the perhaps word there, you kind of pause there and perhaps, hopefully, you know, that it's a special place, special bird.
Special. Yep.
Nice one.
Thank you.
Way to kick it off. I'm
going to share this poem. Some of you may have heard this poem. Sometimes I open with this, but this poem is going to be in the next book, which is called Sea Smoke, Spindrift and Other Spells. So it's forthcoming. I just turned in all my big edits on Friday, and so should be out shortly. And this poem, almost all of these poems in the broadsides are in there except for the next one.
Nice. So a heavy bird element to this new book. We'll talk about this book a lot, but it's Seward, right?
It's Seward in the Kenai Peninsula.
Okay,
has the outer coast and Gulf of Alaska.
Nice.
With a little turnaround Cape Res.
Cool. So the Alaska Shauna book, by Cirque Press, forthcoming.
Without the whole state. So I have the whole state will come out in the next book after this. So
nice.
When we put the whole manuscript together, it was really big.
Gotcha.
So we split it.
Cool.
So I could do something for Seward and the Kenai Peninsula,
Yeah.
similar to what I did with Yosemite Dawning.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Migration pattern. Somehow our migration pattern huddled us together. Maybe we aren't from the same flock year or born in the same region, but somehow that unexplainable navigation system brought us all to the same place. That place where we walk circles around each other, sing, dance, make frantic calls, where we find nooks to call homes and preen ourselves pretty, huddle for warmth in the winter and fly endless circles of merriment when the light comes in spring. Already, with the sun past its summer zenith, I wonder how long before you fly to some other distant place. Or will you overwinter, nestled beside me, ride out the darkness until the light comes again?
I have heard that. That's nice. Yeah.
I like open.
Yeah. I mean, there's a metaphor to Sewardites, right? To people, right? And yeah. I mean, even just today, like I went for a walk, the sun came out and just, I just got back into town and just like one after another, people I know, conversations, like someone tells me, oh, I heard Shauna's going to do a show today, just like the Seward community and how you just go for a walk. Great chance you're going to feel better by who you run into, the sun, huddled together in winter.
Yep. It's our little home.
Yeah.
I actually
Let's get this artwork up on. Tell me the artist again, Shauna, as we kind of feature.
Cassandra Maroche.
Cassandra Maroche.
Yep. From Waiakin Studio. She's from the Alaska interior.
Cool.
Yeah.
Broadsides.
I adore her. I adore her.
P.S.
This poem is actually in Yosemite Dawning.
Oh, cool.
And so I love this one too. If you can see it, it's a red-winged blackbird.
Yeah.
So pretty spectacular. It's actually got the yellow and the red. So
yeah.
It's like
shoulder pads. Yeah.
Edge of the refuge. Held down all night, the tule fog breaks as the dawn does. Rises ethereal, masks the sun's luminance. Beneath this low cloud, living things stir. Water moves, ripples, and the calls come. In the rise, wings spread. Everything outstretches, lifts in the coming light. Song, chatter, foreign languages of the past stir the damp cold of morning, each thing shattering in the waking of day. The genes of wildness and knowing pass through the generations. They face boldly, calmly, the hunts, migrations, births, deaths. And this morning, all who wake have triumphed. They gather, breathe, sing, sigh, continue the journey. Their breathy words rise, sink, and fade. Their final syllables muffled as they come to rest at the edges of the wetland, dampened by the wild songs of the red-winged blackbirds who hold the line in the tall, wind-chilled, icy reeds that hold back the hunters and the rest of us.
Nice. I'm liking all the attention to sound, what the birds sound like, I'm big on that. And it works.
Maybe I'll just give you.
That's awesome. Is that like paper?
Isn't it? Yeah,
paper?
They're paper.
Yeah. That's so good. Let's see if we can get close
gorgeous.
on that. You keep doing your
thing. And I think there's a couple of her art pieces in town right now.
Oh, cool.
We had done a joint workshop together at Primrose.
Oh, yes. I met her. Yeah.
And
that's
so
right.
I think there's maybe a couple pieces that are down
Gotcha.
there in case you want to see one up close.
So they're all this is all
they're
paper.
All paper sculpture.
Cut paper sculpture. That's her style. That has a little background to it.
This one is huge. This piece with all the swans, I think it's like 5 or 6 feet long.
Yep. Awesome. Yeah, she was awesome. I tried to get her bird trading card. Where are we on that?
Yeah, we'll have to.
All right.
Yep, we got to follow it.
Yeah. Yeah, I love cut paper. It just pops out.
So this poem is called Flight of the Crane. And I think a lot of people in Seward are familiar with our cranes. I realize that not everywhere in Alaska, the cranes don't migrate through. So some communities don't get to experience, the thousands of birds flying over.
Yeah.
Or stopping in town. And so I'll share this poem with you. Flight of the crane. We lift. Air beneath us turned sky, turned world laid out below us, bending in every direction. We flight partners, 2 or 200, work together against wind, swirl of cloud, storm. Set down on grasslands, rest, peck at our injuries, snatch up bugs. Thank all the heavens for our wonder, our ways of knowing, which remain unknown to others. Regardless of understanding, comprehension, we are, we do, and we do again. Living on, long flight on wing, navigation points embedded, we are the mighty forces. We dance, we love, and for so many days of the year, we go unnoticed.
Nice. Another special Seward one that forages, stop over Big Bird. Always marks my season.
Yeah.
Spring, right? I think, April, March, April, you hear them. And then I even catch it in the fall sometimes too. I love this line, our ways of knowing unknown to others. I know you're including like the bird kingdom there, like maybe other birds don't know cranes as much because they are so different. Who are the others there?
Well, and I think for birds, considering the others for me in this poem are us.
Yeah.
That
people.
We don't understand their navigation system, like how
right.
we think we're still trying to figure everything out. How do they know?
Right.
And to keep coming back to these places, and then I think what I am so astounded by year after year, sometimes you can watch them coming up Resurrection Bay towards town.
Yeah.
Even when there's storms, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes there's storms pushing them in, or the clouds, and you can't see them, but you can hear them,
right.
and they're making their way along Bear Mountain.
Yeah, they do go over the mountain. Yeah, that ridge. Yeah,
yep.
Range.
And then if they're not stopping right in town, if they're going straight in, they turn at Resurrection River, and it's just mind blowing.
Yeah. That's a mark for them, maybe, or who knows? But they always do it. They know.
And then coming back down.
Yeah.
In the fall.
Yeah, and Whitley. These are often. I heard you say 2 to 200.
Yep.
I've seen a lot of big flocks, and it's like, who's making that turn? Is it the whole collective consciousness of this flock, or is it just like the first couple guys there?
And have you seen them when they're resting and swirling?
Right. Yeah. In the thermals.
The turn?
I don't know that I've seen the turn, but I got to stay with it. I've seen them, and it's nice. Crazy. And the dance, not a lot of birds dance, like
spectacular.
Yeah. Prehistoric, that one.
You can see that in town.
Yeah, that's right.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Lucky.
Yeah, for sure.
So this winter, or last summer, I guess, I was working on a series of poems about merlets, marbled merlets, and ancient merlets.
Sorry.
Kitlets, merlets, no problem.
Yeah.
And so I have a series of poems about merlets. This poem will actually be in Sea Smoke, Spindrift, and Other Spells.
Awesome.
And one of the poems will be in a different collection, but I thought I'd share this one because I really like it.
Awesome.
Pact of the Foglark. And
that's a great title.
Merlets used to be referred to as foglarks in the early 1900s, so generation or so before us, by people who were mariners or sailing or maybe in logging. They were familiar with them on the foggy coastlines. So
cool.
Pact of the Foglark. And also something else to know about them, it was really hard for people to understand their nesting habits.
Right.
And so this took a very long time for people to figure out. Pact of the Foglark. What secrets are developing in your egg, which we cannot find? How did you sign your pact with the age-old forest that hides your nest, forest flaws your young? All these long years, even the most determined eyes looking, you evade, hold mysterious many things, while the workings of this coast-bound world holds our attention. Eagles near the raven's nest, brave black parents swooping, forcing back the danger, labored boats full of fish hauling their pregnant hulls to dock, while the herring school, while the salmon evade the sea lion, the hook, the net. Blue topo line plans rally the chainsaw, while guardians stall time. Then you, under moon, starlight, or stormy darkness, go hemlock, go sitka spruce, or to some lone rock we cannot see. Breed a new brood, hatch a single chick that sits silent, listening for your care call. We'll fledge these woods to the rough coast, dive, swim for water-bound life, and whom we will question tomorrow. Yeah, so one of the cool things about merlets is they nest in old-growth forests and really big trees. And so you see these tiny little birds right here in Seward, but they have this really profound connection to large diameter trees on our coastline.
Yeah, you see them on the water. That's I saw some today. You know, I always know, like, okay, tiny murrelet, marbled murrelet is our one here in the harbor right now, and then some of the others you mentioned are attainable a little further out. But have you ever seen one in the forest? Or,
no.
Right, you don't, but they do it. Yeah.
Yep.
And your poem really, you know, keeps that mystery going. You know, I like, there's a theme going on here of like this unknown and, you know, just these little signals you get with the observation. That's why birding is so fun, because you don't like understand it. You just get these glimpses or notes. It's like, oh, what's, you know, and you can just pause and helps me be present, you know, like this is helping me as well. But that's a good species to choose.
Yeah, it's just, you know, there's nothing like being able to just slow down and look.
Yeah.
And it's fun searching around. And when you start to learn habits and learn their habits, and then you can find them, and, you know, even taking kids to go see, and they're just so, you know, it's like a game.
Totally.
And so that discovery, it's a powerful way to be outside.
Yeah. And for the beginner, you know, you've never really, bird, you know, it's like, that's probably the most fun, you know, all levels, like the way up there. I mean, it's not me, but I know people, they love it. It's a passion. It keeps them busy. You're on a project all the way through ages or ability, I guess you would say, or amount time spent birding. It's super fun. And Seward is such a good place. Like right now, like I just had a great walk, you know, along with running into a lot of Sewardites and them smiling, you know, and just catching up the birds and here. And now this, it's like, I mean, I did not wake up like that today. I mean, I knew this would happen, but it's dark, raining, November.
It's that time.
Yeah. Nice one. I want to hold that one up too.
Yeah, go for it.
Here we are on 91.7 KIBH FM Seward. Seward Soundwords, local writers reading their work live on the air. In this case, local poet Shauna Potocky reading from her brand new project, Broadsides, with artist
Cassandra Maroche.
Thank you. I wrote it down. These are hot off the press. They're going to be available at the holiday fair. Like you can purchase these. That's how Broadside goes.
Yep.
Yeah. Be great up on your wall. Yeah. Great gift for someone who you know likes murrelets or cranes. I'm just looking at this myself, but here you go, folks. Cut paper art. Find the lighting. Yeah, Broadside's kind of an old school, been around a while, but it's great to see it.
And it was so fun to reach out to Michelle, and I was like, so I have this idea, but let's bring our own flavor to it. Her designs are very different than what you see in traditional broadsides, which is so fun to do that collaboration with an artist that you really admire, and then to have a designer really work with you to play with it and pull it together. So Michelle McAfee and then Cassandra.
Kind of like perfect team, right? Cassandra passes off the cut paper.
Yep.
You got the words. You have an idea about spacing, right? It seems like they're all kind of in a similar range. Although this is a little longer.
Yep.
That's why it gets sizes. a little And then Michelle. Hand it off to her, and she does her thing.
And then she pulls it all together and gives us some mock-ups.
Yeah.
Super fun. Last winter, or near the end of last winter, I went up to Cassandra's art studio up in the interior. And so it was just really fun to take that time out of our schedules and just hunker down for a weekend.
Yeah.
And so she had asked me to send her poems
Yeah.
in advance.
Yeah.
And then when I got there, she had done artwork in response to my poems.
Fun.
But then she had taken poems that she had me handwrite.
Cool.
And if you look in the
Yeah,
design,
yeah.
she cut the paper of my handwritten poems and my typed poems
That's
and
awesome.
included them into the sculptures.
Amazing.
Yeah. And then when I saw that, of course, like, it makes you want to melt.
Right. Somebody. Yeah, I mean, collaboration goes like that. I mean, that's how you get good product, because it is so much work to produce anything, you know. And so when someone else like, this is a good idea, you know, it's nice to hear that. But then it was like, I want to do it with you.
Yeah.
And then they do it. It's like, it really energizes, and the project gets better. I found, you know, like, right. Like you wouldn't have thought to, you know, I mean, you're a visual artist, but it's nice to hand that off and be like, okay, bring your expertise, bring your creativity. I've used a lot to put these words together. I don't have that much left, you know, for this piece, and they come fresh. And, you know, having projects land and someone asks you is so nice. Like, that's what we're trying to do more, I think, here in town too. Just like be in touch. All right, what are you working on? What are you working on? And like, okay, here, you know, ideas grow together. That's so cool.
Yeah,
some
it
musical
makes
notes.
all the difference to have thought partners. You know, I just love that, especially when somebody introduces something that, like, there's no way I would have thought of, you know, whatever the I call them interventions, right? They like bring in something and it just changes everything. And I love it. I'm not intimidated by that.
Right.
I think sometimes we get into this thing where people can be afraid to share, and it's really fun to share. Yeah. And then see like what that brings up.
Yeah, that's a good point. I would say I was like, you know, where I was so like, I can handle it myself. You know, like I'm working, I'm doing my thing. But since I've opened up, and I wouldn't put a time on it exactly, but I definitely have, it's like, it just, you can have a writing life without doing any writing, you know, and you could be able just by like sitting and talking with someone. And I think this point you just made, like, you wouldn't have got to your good thought for this project without her saying that or saying, how about this? You know, it's like the ladder doesn't work like that if it's just one person. Yeah. So I think that's a good point for today. I mean, lots going on here. But collaboration and just like be open to it and share.
And play.
Yeah.
Just play.
Yeah.
It's fun to play.
Yeah. So are these all bird? All the broadsides have
These
to do with?
These ones are, yeah.
But you have some.
Yeah, and we have more coming.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, this is, why not just keep this going?
This is the first part of the series. So
yeah.
We have a lot more coming.
I'm sure everybody's having fun with their role.
We have a show here in town for July too.
Nice.
So that's coming.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't ask if I can like fully say which play. It's Ranting Raven.
Okay.
But, so yeah.
These mics are good. Is that like with the bird kind of seabird stuff going on, or kind of fits in there?
It was the weekend that was available. Usually,
first Friday,
Yeah, I think the Seabird Festival is usually in June. Right?
That sounds right. Yeah, when they're starting to.
Well, let me read you a couple straight out of the draft.
Yeah.
Sea Smoke, Spindrift, and Other Spells. How are we doing on time?
We're doing great. Yeah, okay. We're at a half hour or so.
All right.
Yeah, so this would be moving into Shauna's forthcoming book from Cirque Press. Moving off the broadside she just shared. Yeah. But some of these broadsides are in this book as well. So
all of them except for Edge of the Refuge, which is actually in Yosemite Dawning.
The red-winged blackbird, which is a tough bird to get in Alaska. I will share, I'm excited about this. I told you earlier, I saw a flock of rusty blackbirds on the bike path this morning. Great noise, fooled me at first, and I was like, no, it's them. So
everybody's seeing spectacular birds
it's good.
All around Alaska.
It's good,
right now.
Yeah.
And how about that? I mean, everybody's crazy about that white raven, huh?
Yes.
And that's not in Seward.
No, I have seen that. I want to see that. I love ravens. And it's hanging around. I saw a recent sighting. Yeah. Have you seen it?
I have not. I've just seen everybody's photos and
Right.
artwork, and
Yeah.
it's nice that it's inspiring so much.
Totally. Yeah, that could make some birders for sure.
Mhm.
A kind of ghostly bird like that.
Should go take a field trip.
I think so. I was just there. It didn't even occur to me. I don't know. I'm gonna get it. It's cool that's still around.
Well, I'll share some more here for you. This is coming up. I think the solstices are my favorite times of the year living in Alaska. So winter solstice is coming, and this is a little ode to that and the summer solstice. Seward solstice. We celebrate the light and lack of light. We revel in the bonfire that warms the tight circle surrounded by cold, never noticing the flying embers as we laugh. We find joy in counting the shortness of day, only to return on its other side, light growing long, moment by moment, hour after hour. So these juxtapositions of darkness and endless sun ground us to the reality of our lives and the magic of a turning world.
Nice. Yeah, that puts me at where we spent, I want to say a solstice or very close to it at a couple of years ago, the mile 12 lantern ski, right?
Oh, yeah.
Just around the fire and
Yep.
yeah, definitely celebrating. Yeah.
I have a poem for you about that.
Yeah.
To close this out.
Nice. That was an amazing night. I missed it last year. That was 2 years ago.
It was the most magic ski.
Yeah. Good conditions, headlamps, the lanterns, plenty. But you're just like hearing laughter throughout the woods, like, oh, I know her, let's go talk to them. Like on the mile 12 works well for that. And then the gathering at the fire circle, which was just like the last celebration.
Magic.
That's a good one.
This is my favorite ski. Well, of course, I did include in this next book many poems about some of the challenging things about living on the coast here.
Mm-hmm.
So things about our history, things about the earthquake, the oil spill, lots of different things. So I'm going to give you one here that touches on that. The Exxon Valdez. Your fingerprints on rock, in stomachs, written across this hard coast. We mustn't forget to remember, hold the hardships, the horror. So after we are gone, our kin will know better, will understand what rests in the sands, reveals itself when the cobbles turn over, when storms strive to reveal the darkness, uprising in sheen puddles, slick reminders to be more wary, when the storms come and churn up our unreconciled past.
Nice. That's not over. You do a lot of these. This was a really nice entry, like just like, you kind of get the reader fingerprints on rock, like that's a strong image. And then in stomachs, like, oh, I got you. Now I got you, a couple times that's happened with your poems. They're really nice moves, just like timing and like go further with the, kind of discomfort or, or even just another step. I mean, you've done it in positive ways in previous poems. I don't know what I'm quite getting at, which is often the case, but that's the case with poetry. But like, it's like more, I like it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
For people who are traveling the highways this winter, this is for all of us, because I too have to drive the most dangerous road. And so I think many of us will maybe feel this is familiar. The most dangerous road. Off Camber, turn slick road, that bully wind on the inlet. Turn again, arm your magic light alongside belugas chasing fish runs and boar tide of silt water on mudflat. We adore you. Dip net hooligans for winter meals, climb your frozen waterfalls, stay weary of your blind turn moose. We love you and fear you. No better than to venture your death trap mud. Road crews, long hours, brave bus driver updates, road reports throughout all the winter storms, when the road cameras don't work, can't reveal the slip hazards and blindness. You are bliss and terror. Keep us sleepless in planning. Determine more than meetings and schedules. You ground us back into the cycles of the natural world. You determine if we go or do not go.
Yeah, I hear you. Just drove down a couple nights ago.
No.
It went okay. Drive up was tougher, but yeah, always the arm. I'm just like, all right, let's get off the arm.
Yep.
And then, going up, all right, we made it to Anchorage. Or even when you finish the arm, kind of coming into Portage, it's you relax a little. But I mean, it's still a lot of work to do.
It's
a lot of unknown. That was a nice run of like road reports, long hours. I like that like series of kind of just road stuff,
Yeah.
But you're right. I mean, there is such beauty there too. Belugas.
It's amazing. And I know that this year, people will probably have strong feelings about this. So I realized that there was a lot of road construction. And on the plus side of that is that it gave us opportunities to slow down. I saw belugas right next to the road because I was in the road construction. So I was good with it.
Yeah.
Like, let's just slow down.
Right.
And
how many of the drivers are poets who are, so love the wildlife, But I think that could happen. Yeah. See a moment.
So I'm gonna skip over to a different poem here.
Nice range to this book already. This is great.
Give us a little balance. So this poem is called "The Jewel in the Middle of the Train Wreck," and this is for our buddy Carl. And you know how to say Carl's last name perfectly.
Carl Mechtenberg, folks.
All right. So, Jewel in the Middle of the Train Wreck. And if you're not familiar with the train wreck here in Seward, it's a special little spot in Seward where there's a collection of train cars. You're going to hear more about it. And the bike shop has been there, but the bike shop's moving. Triangulated corner pocket of the harbor, the last bit of road angled south to the waterfront. Jovial faces of small children pedaling circles. First bike day celebrated on the creaking deck. Carl, hero of the bike wrench, builds, tunes, oils, unpacks, packs, and on good days, when the old Schwinn comes in, stuttering from the stuck shifter, rust through chain straining, he howls that I have to let it go. But it comes back to me, smooth as butter and surprises. New bell, peace sign valve caps, the joy of revolution over revolution through town, waterfront cruising, even against wind. Carl is the jewel in the middle of the train wreck. There you go.
Nice. Yeah. Peace sign, valve caps. There are always these bells and whistles, like he just set me up with studded tires. I drove it over here and I got to look closer at the bike. I wouldn't be surprised if something's there. Hero of the bike wrench for sure.
Hero of the bike wrench.
Yeah, good run there at the train wreck. Ron Sherman before doing, Seward Bike Shop. Great history here. Great that we have, a local place because this is a bike town. I mean, straight up, there's the mountain biking on trails and just commuting, which people do all winter. I know Carl's going to be putting on a big thing this coming Saturday. I think Exit Glacier Road. Yeah, the Fat Bike.
Or Sunday. I think
Okay.
It's Sunday.
Yeah, so check that out and head out to, get with some fat bikers and learn, kind of the way, pick up some tricks there, maybe get a new, valve cap, no guarantees. But the bike shop will be moving, we do want to say, to downtown. Let's see, right by the library there, Swan's Nest, in new space, getting renovated and ready to go. Going to be a great spot. And the deck you captured well, like the creaky deck. I think that is such like a part of that whole space, right? With the coffee shop too, and then the smoke shack where people can just gather in that triangle corner. But I do think it's going to be a nice space for people to get out front and like test ride their bike on that quiet street, and go look right at the ocean. And I think that's going to be a good setup there. And it's here in Seward, so
spectacular.
Yeah.
Well, give us a winter poem since we're all in hunkered down for winter. We've had some weather.
Yeah.
Crazy weather.
Right.
It was amazing winter. And then it just turned to muck.
Yep.
Winter in Seward. Hearing the frozen leaf tumble run across the junk ice of hard, cold night, the roof shudder in the hard wind as the house braces itself against the repeated force, again, again. Sitka spruce hard tips shudder shake in the frigid air, while cottonwoods their sleepy buds of spring silhouette dance against the blue light night. While the lonesome lights of habitation, dispersed random across this nook of land, mark where all the souls are, spread thin in the dark, spread thin in the beating cold, glistening.
Nice.
I love our little town.
Yeah. I like junk ice. That's a cool term.
That came to me because of walking down the alley.
Yeah.
Dog walks, and
Right.
it's like, oh, it's just a mess.
Yeah. Like now, or probably even cleared out. There's just a couple spots, but like that rotten ice.
It's rotten.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Blue light night, spread thin in the beating cold. It's cool. You have a nice balance here where you're kind of like, there's hard part to this, but there's beauty to it too, which I think is nice in a poem. It's not all just one thing. Stuff's pretty complex. That's where poetry comes in.
Mm-hmm. You can come back to a piece over and over and find different things in it.
Yeah.
I've just been reading, I keep a whole series of different poets' books on my desk.
Yeah. They're all
just pick
alive.
them up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I need this one.
read something.
Yeah.
Or go back to a poem that I really love, and it's just like peeling back layers.
Yeah.
Sometimes you discover something that's been there the whole time, but you just never, you didn't find it before.
Yeah. So you do that with other poets' work,
Yeah.
right? But your own also.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think of that like reading poems, like my dad and I would read the New Yorkers, and I'd read a short one to him and be like, what does that mean? Like, and I'd be like, oh, it's just nice, like the point isn't to try to like decode it and figure it out, and it's going to hit readers differently.
Yep.
But I wonder, like the poet, I've tried my hand at poetry, but you're a poet, so like when you write a poet, like, do you know what it means? Like, are you every word is so careful and means something. You probably have memories of some of these images that the reader's not going to get. I've done that with my sentences, I know. But like, can you decode your poetry? Is kind of a heavy question. You know what I mean?
That's a great question.
Like, does the poet always know?
No, I don't.
It's a feel thing, right? Yeah.
Yeah. That is such a great question, Sean. So you're definitely right in regards to words and word choice, right? Because there's a saying, I don't know who said this, but there's a saying that poetry is just the right word in just the right place.
Yeah.
And so each word matters because you're not writing necessarily longer sentences or full essays. You don't get to explain everything.
Yeah.
So you're capturing these snapshots or these feelings or telling a story in this kind of more succinct way, or at least for the way that I'm writing. And so the word choice matters. And what I do try to practice, especially when I go back through editing, sometimes as writers, we get stuck saying the same word over and over.
Yeah, I've heard you talk about that. Yeah, going
out.
Through Yosemite Dawning and finding words about rock. Like a few too many of, I forget what. They were good words, but like, yeah, that's where the editing comes in. Yeah.
Rugged ridgelines. Yeah. And so I think those are the patterns that we can see.
Yeah.
But again, this is also another reason why it's important to have thought partners,
right?
And people that you're comfortable sharing work with, or even sharing it more broadly so that you can get outside perspective, because they will see the things that we can't see in our own blind spot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all great stuff. Yeah, I just think there's such a chance for, you write a poem and then you bring in audience, and now the poem can do so many different things that you maybe did not intend. I've had people say something like, oh, I didn't, and I'll be like, I didn't intend that at all. But just like when there's this nice process and form of poetry, very free form. And if you just give yourself to it, no matter the level, again, I'd argue here, like we talked about birding, no matter the level, it's going to be fun. Yeah, you just play And there's such an opportunity that you are giving. You are the creator of this chance for, even if you just give it to a friend or your parents or a teacher, and you might be putting together some really cool stuff. Like the mind and the heart is like that. And we're all so different. We all have our own take on things. And you're in Seward, you know? So
yeah, I have told students throughout my career, and I love giving journals, right? So making sure that our friends have journals and students have journals.
Yeah.
That one of the greatest gifts that we can give ourselves is by keeping a journal. And even if you don't feel comfortable writing, if you're just going to doodle or you want to tear things out of magazines and collage, or you take your phone photos and put them in there, your journals will mean so much to you years from now when you look back. And like if you took a trip or you were going through something, when you capture those things, because we think, oh, I'll remember it. You won't remember it. Journal, because it will give you these deep revelations, like when you give it space, and you go back and you look at it, and it's that layering, and I did a lot of that with Yosemite Dawning. I kept journals for over a decade. That book was like 13 years in the making, and so
normal range for work of art like this.
And
here it is.
I put the work together, but then I realized there were gaps in it. Right.
Yeah.
And so I went to my journals and found what I call them gap poems.
Sweet.
Right. And so going back through my journals and just like realizing, wow, there's so much there.
Yeah. So you went back in your journal, not poetry. Sometimes you do poetry, but you found things you wrote about, and you were like, I need a poem from this. And you wrote a poem new from the journal.
Some of them I either read the inspiration and like got it and then wrote a new piece, or I took the piece that was in there and I
so you do write poems, kind of rough poems in your journal. Yeah That's a big part of it.
I mostly write poetry. That's just how my voice is
in your journal.
In my journal.
Yeah, that's a great point. I picked back up on the journaling after some years off, and it's nice. Like, just went on a trip, and even when I'm writing is just, I'm like, man, I can't even write, but I'm just like writing what we did, like God in the Ocean is like very basic. And even just, I mean, I agree. Time passes, you go back to it. I've experienced that recently, like a year later, and huge and so grateful. But even just that day, like I journaled, like the act of setting aside that time and, thinking, or like this morning I did, a few sentences. It wasn't much. That's the only writing I did today. A couple emails, I guess, which I'm also hanging my hat on in this stretch. But like, it really feels good. I say like going for a run or a hike or going birding or doing yoga, like writing, journaling, especially where it's so yours. I read something recently about like a way to write a journal. Like this person suggested it is to write with the intention of you're the only one who's ever going to read it, which I think is helpful.
I totally agree.
And then you can, of course, take things from your journal like Shauna has done and share them with the world. But like, that's the way to go at it, to just not get stopped, write it down. Yeah.
And then you decide what you share.
Right. Yeah.
And then, the other thing that I think is important to know is think about some of the most meaningful things that maybe you've gotten in your life. Maybe you've gotten a handwritten letter or a card, or somebody made you some art, or, or maybe you inherited somebody's journal.
Right.
Those are powerful things. And so we can't always see or recognize how meaningful that might be to somebody.
Yeah, I think even as the world changes, right, and we're into this digital age, like the handwritten, you write handwritten journal. I've been typing just because I'm like, that's where I can jump over to the novel and be like, okay, I got this today. But getting a letter, these really special things, like they even gain in value as like things go the other way, I think. And so I think what we're both saying, if you don't keep a journal, or maybe you have in the past, like just trust that like it's been a really great thing for us, and it's a great thing to do.
And when
simple
you
as
have
that.
time, right? Like our lives already have so much pressure. You don't have to feel like you have to pick it up, and just know that it's there for you if you want to do it.
Yeah.
And it's really rewarding. And especially, if you're trying to figure things out about something,
Yeah.
thoughts about something.
Yeah.
You know, we all just came out of like a pandemic
Right.
and craziness, and so
It remains a time to
good to
figure
have
out or
space.
to get help, figure out how to figure out. Yeah, no, writing, I mean, that is such a way to kind of, you think differently when you write. I think we can also, like, you get more to the steps, you break down to the molecules of the thought, you find, you know, little bridges. I mean, that's why I'm journaling, to like figure out a lot going on right now. And to just kind of warm up, you know, I think for a writer who's going to work on poetry in the same day, like the journal's like, all right, let's get it moving. Now let's jump to the poetry. I'm ready to go. You know, like, yeah. So here we go. Journaling is something you should do. Seward Sound Words here on 91.7 KIBH FM Seward, and on our YouTube channel at Sacktown. We're still rolling here, just kind of getting the call in there. Shauna Potocky is here, and this is awesome. We got some more poems for us. Thank you. We're trying to get back on track. We're gonna be, you know, I'm gonna be lining up guests, and I appreciate Shauna, you know, just making this happen.
Shout out to handwrite a letter to somebody.
Totally.
It's that time,
yeah.
Especially this winter.
Yeah.
Like, get a card from a local artist, or make a card. Or,
yeah. Postcard,
you know,
like make your own postcard, something short, you know,
and you send it.
They will write back. I have a friend, wrote me out of the blue. We exchange letters now. He always sends me some stickers, makes my day, always getting it. And I love writing back to him, you know, and I don't see him, you know, I guess I see in the letter back, like how much he enjoyed it, but you just know it means something, because who you choose to write to. I think anyone listening right now, okay, I could write to her, I could write to him. Like, you know, they're going to love it, you know, and it's
better than getting your bills and your PO box. Yeah.
Yes.
You get a letter covered in stickers.
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah. A little drawing in there. Yep. Good stuff. Right.
Well, let me give you a few more. How we doing on time?
Yeah, we're at 51 minutes, so we're right in range. You know, you do your thing. I want to hear more.
All right.
Yeah. Give us the title of the book again.
Sea Smoke, Spindrift, and Other Spells.
Nice.
And I will just say I'm obsessed with sea smoke. So here in Seward, we actually experience real sea smoke. I know a lot of people maybe like to use that word, or
I don't know it. No. But, besides you, I've seen it with you. But yeah, just go on.
But yeah, sea smoke is some people call it ice fog. So it happens on really, really cold days. We actually already had some in November, which was surprising because I was expecting and watching for it for December, but we actually had some a few weeks ago. And it's when the air is so cold and is coming up off of slightly warmer water, it will create what some people will call ice fog. And so it's spectacular. And I just worked with Michelle on an art piece for the studio that I have, so Sea Smoke Arts. And so I'll get to debut that in maybe later this weekend.
Awesome.
But it's just beautiful when you watch that sea smoke being pushed down the bay. So when we get this north wind, and it's just howling usually, and the bay gets pretty choppy, and you can watch the sea smoke marching out to the Gulf of Alaska. Really
stays pretty like low on the ocean.
Low.
Cool. And so like when we change,
halfway up.
Okay. Yeah. And it's when we change from warmer, because like now the ocean's warming up, when we get a like significant cold drop, that's when you can kind of look for it, like in the mornings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the morning.
Cool. Yep. And then Spindrift, that's like what twirls off the mountain peaks, right? Like that when big wind. Okay. Yep.
Yep.
Cool.
And Spindrift is that light snow that's being blown off the peaks of mountains. And so we see that definitely off all of our high ridges here in Seward with our amazing winds.
Yeah.
Both south wind and north wind.
Yeah.
So spectacular. And then, other spells, all the other things.
Yeah, those are such spells. Yep. And your poems themselves are spells, do you consider? As I asked you that?
So,
yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So I'll give you a few more. Avalanches on Benson. So Mount Benson is just actually right over here.
Yeah. And I would always push Iron Mountain, because I had heard moving here that has two names. I don't hear that anymore. But like when I wrote about it back in the day, iron. Now I say Benson. Formidable mountain. Haven't figured out a way up it. Just got on a couple angles of it. Benson.
Yeah. And it frequently has avalanches and rockfalls, especially in winter. So avalanches on Benson. Avalanche of icefall. Its sound rushes like rapid release rocks down the ravine, like thunder careening across the stormy bay. That's a short one.
Boom. Yeah. I like that.
This one's for all the ski jourers out there.
Nice.
So I have a puppy that I ski jor with. Her name is Siku. And this poem was one of the poems selected by Cirque Press in their poems about puppies. And so,
oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's coming out soon. I don't know the publication date for that, but here it is. I had originally written this poem for the Seward Nordic Ski Club for the fundraiser when we did the writer's reading last year.
Okay, nice.
Love of season. Siku knows. She knows the difference between cold rain and the bliss of swirling snow. She stands in the yellow glow of streetlights, kaleidoscope of snowstorm, its twisting shadows, mouth agape, catching crystalline bits of magic. She knows the word ski and the turnoff to exit Glacier and Bear Lake. Clipping into her line is an act of trust as much as folly. Our adventure hinged on the strength of our bond and the power of words. She is a woven line of genes, working dogs raised on the edge of the Bering Sea. She was born to run and pull, so she does. She knows the lag of slow snow and expects me to pull hard. On fast ice, it takes everything not to be filled with fear. She chases down the snow machine, grooming the track, if you ask, and when she catches it, the groomer and I laugh, while she twirls around, proud. She'll stand on her long back legs to fetch a wider view of moose or lurking bear, keeps watch, smells hard. If it has snowed all night, the trail brimming, she'll break it, bounding or with a steady pace. Some things she knows without being taught.
Nice. That connects to the bird stuff, really, like the genes and just kind of this, animals just have that instinct. I like her up on her hind legs to kind of see what's ahead. That's cool.
Have you seen that when dogs look and it's like, oh yeah. And I always know something's there when she does
when she makes that move. That one's really visual. I was right out there on Exit Glacier. I like that. New snow, she'll break it. I mean, she loves to ski.
Yeah. And if you say the word, it's like other dogs when you say walk.
Right.
For her, it's ski. And she's like.
And you've gotten good enough to do it a lot. Because it is terrifying too, right? There's no break. You got to tell her, right?
It's all trust.
Yeah.
Or just,
trust
you
fall.
But
yeah.
But yeah, it's trust. Yeah.
Pick up some speed.
It was when she was a little puppy.
Yeah.
And she'd see her friends or something else.
Right.
And
you
strong enough to pull when she was still learning. But But now, we have trust.
You got a synergy.
Yeah.
Early on, you almost need a clip, just cut the cord. Or let's let her go.
They do. Some people do that.
Sure.
They have a quick release.
Yeah, I imagine it gets cool.
I'll give you something for summer in case people are already pining for getting back out there on the water. Making for Cape Resurrection. They come once or twice a year, baiting round hooks with herring heads full of dreams and freshly emptied freezers. Migrate just as steady as the salmon. Wait for the harbor opening to pull lines, leave between jetties towards the Gulf, Doll's porpoise surfing the bow. Beyond Chocolate Lily Island, past shriek calls, breaking waves, ruckus, kitty wake swirling. on currents of sea air, wind swell, spray shattering its glistening yellow light into the morning as hurried boats round the cape towards halibut grounds. Murs, fancy dressed in their black and white, separate, dive, fly as the boats go by. Raft together again when the flotilla passes, aft of action, over V ripple wakes of all the boats going to fish.
Nice.
And I have to give a shout out, Chocolate Lily Island.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's a rock here in Resurrection Bay. I guess that's on the east side, partway down the bay. So my buddy Gary is a boat captain. We're really, really good friends, and we both love chocolate lilies.
Yeah, they're cool. Yeah.
Love to find them, around town or peek at them. And we both have lots of chocolate lilies in our yards. And Gary had let me know that there was this spot on one of the rocks out there that's covered in chocolate lilies. And so he calls it Chocolate Lily Island. And so that's been our little.
So it's not it's a rock. It's small. Can you stand on it?
You could stand on it.
But
not advised.
Right. Only one person at a time. There's like a little bit of like grass.
Yeah, there's just enough stuff up there that
cool.
It's covered in chocolate
Some seeds
lilies.
just made it. Yeah.
Yeah. So we call it Chocolate Lily Island. And so that's why I put that in there.
That is a cool flower. So you name that's an unofficial name.
That's a Gary name.
Gary name. So kind of official.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll call it.
Yeah.
We'll call it. It's in there now.
Right. Totally. Yeah. In the book.
Let's see. Okay, I know which poem I want to end on.
Cool.
So let me give you one more, and then I'll give you that one.
Sounds great.
Surface transiting. Out of the steel gray sea between surface tension and wind swell, one tiny fin on the sprawling dark back. There, then gone. No breath, no blow. Tenuous watching confirms the distance going on and on, transit surfacing. Two living vessels passing each other, lengthening the distance. That's a poem about fin whales.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we see fin whales on the outer coast, and they're ginormous. And sometimes they don't even blow. They're just like, transiting.
That's what the visual can be. Just kind of a little crest or subtle. Yeah. There's a back. That's a fin because is it like color gray or is
they're just really long. I don't remember the size. They're smaller. Blue whales are, of course, the largest whales, and fin whales, they're
ginormous.
They're big.
And you don't mention fin whale.
Mm-mm.
Like we talk about, like, okay, what's this poem about? It's about fin whales, but a lot of I didn't know that. But that's cool. I could revisit it.
Still playing with that title too, so I'm trying.
What was the title again? You might have put it away.
Transit surfacing.
Cool, because they're on the move. Nice. Just kind of a quiet kind of sighting. Yeah.
But when you see their blow too, it's huge.
Yeah.
So tall.
Something different, not like the humpbacks we saw earlier.
Yeah.
People will tell me sometimes fin whale, and I like make a note of that. As I talk to people in the summer, we saw fin whale. I'm like, all right.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, they're here.
Unbelievable. Okay. Well, you had mentioned the luminary ski.
Yeah. This was the planned closer.
This is the closer. Is that cool?
That's cool. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Are we just, we'll say a little something out. Well, why don't we, or do you want to talk after you read this poem a little and do like the final?
Sure.
Okay, let's do that.
Okay.
The luminary ski was awesome. It deserves a poem by Shauna Potocky. Here you go.
Well, this poem also, it was written for that event that we did for the ski club.
Yep.
When you organized the
Yeah. Awesome show. Yeah.
And just a shout out, the Seward Nordic Ski Club is hosting the luminary ski again this year. It is planned for December 17th.
Awesome.
And we're recording in 2023. So in case.
At mile 12.
Later. Yep, mile 12. And I don't usually write rhyming poems.
Right. Haven't heard that yet.
This was the piece that kind of played with that.
Cool.
And I tightened it up a little bit from what it was before, but here you go. Luminary Ski. We gather on the edge of the dark forest, recognizing each other by our laugh, by our voices. Slide or step across the great gift of snow. We travel old trails blazed for us to love and to know. While all the little acts of kindness that froze vessels to light our way flicker and sing, we catch up, delight, sidestep and play. Dogs blinking and darting, puppies tucked into jackets, babies in buntings, draft horse parents pulling their chariots. While trees in the dark sparkle and glow, ornaments or blessings from pockets do flow. All this wonder, all this delight on and on goes, until late in the night as candlelight dims and bonfire grows. All of our faces out of the dark into the light of shimmer and spark, miles of fun, miles of strides, the snow gives us more than simple glides. So fingers screaming, noses cold and red as berries, in the end, our faces, this good night, the true luminaries.
Nice. That works for that rhyme. It's kind of a holiday, right? Kind of feel this like special festival. That rhyming's nice. I like that. Some great metaphors in there. The parent draft horses, you know.
That's you,
I just like that metaphor as well. There's nothing. Yes, I'm glad those days are over. As far as just the poll was, you know, I mean, even like a mile, I was like, can we make it up? Like, we might have even gotten like a little assistance. And the red berry noses. I mean, that's just like you smile the whole time. There's no, you know, some of your poems just like, okay, here's the dark, the hard part. Here's the beauty. This one's all beauty.
Yep.
Pretty sure.
Yep.
So yeah.
Leaving you with the light.
And the side step, you did that. Yeah, totally. That is a special one. The side step was important. Wow. Thank you, Shauna. I mean, that was a full set.
Thank you.
Bringing it. The broadsides. Awesome. And Sea Smoke, Spindrift, and Other Spells.
Yep.
Shauna Potocky's forthcoming new collection from Cirque Press. I know, you know, some edits have been done. You've been handing stuff in. It's hard to say when it exactly will be out typically, but it's on the way. These poems are written. We're into like some of the further stages of bookmaking.
Yep.
And you have some experience with that after this.
Yeah.
Jewel.
So half of the artwork is done. Now that this round of edits is in for review, that opens space up for me to do more of the artwork. I will do the map again, like I did the map in here.
Yeah.
So following a really similar format, so that the books will kind of match.
Cool.
And then planning for early in the year for the release.
Oh,
and
nice.
Then,
so real close.
Yeah, really close.
Cool.
And then the goal is then a year later. So this will come out, and then the book that is focused on all of Alaska will follow in winter of next year.
Sweet.
So
the blueprint is laid. Awesome. So you have this trilogy of kind of, you know, these are such place, you know, collections, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, and I've done a lot of poems from throughout Alaska. But when we looked at the whole thing, you can see how thick this is.
Yeah.
That when it was all together, it was just so big. And so we talked about it and decided, let's split it.
Yeah, and that'll give you momentum, I imagine, to like get part number 2 out, you know, this new book, and then move on without having to think of any of those poems anymore. And I like that, you know, kind of Kenai Peninsula. A lot of Seward.
Yeah.
A lot of birds.
There's a lot. There is a lot
of wildlife
for the rest of the Kenai Peninsula.
Right.
Too,
yeah. Sweet.
Focus it here. Sorry if you're listening on the other side of the peninsula. I promise you're in there.
Well, thank you so much. What else? What else do you want to give the listeners? That's kind of how I close things. I mean, we talked about a lot of good stuff. I like that journaling, collaboration key today.
Yeah. Your stories matter. Your feelings matter. The way you experience the world. Capture that and know that you can help bring voice to things that don't necessarily have voice, traditional voice. Really, really powerful. We can all be stewards through the things that we do and the things that we write.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's great. I would say like editing too, you know, I think sometimes people be like, oh, I'm not, you know, it's like your poems, like it takes a long time to get it where you want it. It doesn't have to be even close that first go.
Yeah.
That first go is still going to feel good.
Yeah.
It's like you just give yourself to writing, even as a newer writer, you know, and you can produce quality kind of careful every word stuff that's like you and then what you want to express, and it'll feel good. And I think people will be really surprised with, I don't know, like the first time I like painted something, I was like, hey, this is all right, you know, because I just like gave, you know, of course I could break it down like, all right, I need some training. But I think writing is different, where like kind of what you said at the start there of just like your voice matters. You know, everyone has their own take, their own stuff, like what you want to express, like wants to be expressed, you
and
know?
people are interested. I mean, sometimes, you know, I was nervous before coming today.
Yeah.
Right. Like it was on my mind
Yeah.
all morning. And
Good.
I was,
Yeah.
like checking my list and checking it twice.
Right.
And sometimes I just feel like, oh, like I'm not sure if.
Yeah. I'm with you there. Yeah.
People are just always so grateful when you share and you talk about things, and
Yeah.
then they realize, oh, I was thinking about that too, or I struggled with that too.
Yeah.
And you know, the editing thing, it never ends, because even if you just saw me like
Right.
on the video today and you look at some of the poems that I was reading, you'll see that I like crossed words out and put in different words today.
Right now. Yeah.
And it happens. It just, that's always happening.
Yeah. Performance helps with that. Like, ooh, not quite exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. See, right there.
There we go. Live edit. Seward Soundwords made the book. Yeah. No, that nervous is good. And I was just so happy to be here. Like I said before, like it's just all right. We've got the day scheduled. Here we are. And the guest always takes it from there. And you took it to a high level as I expected. And I feel I'm having, you know, the morning's been like building, and here we go even more. And I feel like this is going to be a big part of my week as I get back to town. I mean, I knew it would be. And now just like with all these words to sit with, and just, yeah.
Well, I'm grateful for you, Sean. Thank you for pulling this whole show together and working with Wolf and creating a space to share voice. And it's so amazing that you're helping writers in Seward to share their work, but now there's even people coming from wider spaces.
Yeah, whenever I hear someone's around, I you know, try to get them in. And so I mean, it's exciting. Thank you, I appreciate it. It's a lot of fun for me, and I just know how important opportunities for writers are, you know, so I wanted that for writers. And you know, this is a great opportunity for me to do writing stuff and share collaboration. So it's all just kind of, you know, I know this is a good thing. I can just feel it. And so thank you. And I think we're going, you know, we've got a bright future. Seward Soundwords season 2, episode 2 with Shauna Potocky. Episode 1 is, you know, like these cranes and, you know, and sea smoke just in the, who knows, but it happened. But this one's going to be there on our YouTube archive station. So please pass it on. Really great stuff. Shauna's sharing her poems on Seward Soundwords. Thank you, Shauna.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and if anybody else is interested in doing readings and stuff, like you were saying, you know, collaborating, sometimes it's hard for writers to get readings in places. And so helping us all get plugged into other spaces to do readings in other spots would be great.
Yep. Share. Sandy Clevin of Circle, I say we all rise together. You know, I think I kind of got a lot of that from her as far as just like helping each other out and like talking with writers, you know, like the more you do that, your writing life, your life, let's just take it to, improves, because we're writers. We have to. So,
thanks,
all right. We're going to call it here on Seward Soundwords. Thanks, Shauna. Thank you, everyone, for listening. We'll see you next time real soon.